Welcome to ReThink You, bringing you ideas, inspiration, and motivation to start living the life you were created to live. Here is your host, author, trainer, speaker, and coach, and founder of ReThink You, Kim Levings.
Well, hi there, and welcome back to the ReThink You podcast. My name is Kim Levings, and I'm glad that you're listening to us. If you've been following this podcast, you know that we've had some pretty amazing speakers lately. And today I'm yet again excited and blessed to introduce you to Noel Shirian. And she is the founder of Your Everyday Dream, and she's a mindset execution coach who's also an entrepreneur and speaker. And Your Everyday Dream is a lifestyle, a choice, and a place where discovering your passion and living your non-negotiable life meet unapologetically. I love how Noel says that. Noel helps professionals who are not in love with their lifestyle and those who have a strong desire for something else to reclaim their power and to live their non-negotiable life. As Noel says, don't be afraid to step off the line and pave your own way. So I was blessed to meet Noel through my mastermind group with John Tallarico and Les Brown. She is a fabulous speaker, and she's currently based in Bali. She was also a speaker at the Les Brown Summit 4 in last month, and her presentation was fabulous. So I'm excited to introduce her to you today. Noel, I know that behind that bio is a story, and you have a powerful story. So why don't you start by telling us some of the story of who you are and how you ended up doing what you're doing?
Okay. Thank you so much, Kim. That was an amazing introduction, and you say it so well, better than me. So yes, hi everybody. I'm Noel. I am currently in Bali. I am living my everyday dream. I wasn't always living my everyday dream, but I realized that I had a past where I worked that 9-to-5 corporate job. I was born and raised in New York. I had done those things that they tell you to do. So, you start off, you got to go to that good school. You want to get those good grades. You want to get that good job. And so for me, I didn't know exactly what school or what I wanted to do at the age of 16 when you have to make that decision, that big decision. But I knew that I didn't want to be a teacher. I knew that I didn't want to be in finance. I knew that I didn't want to do, I guess, the everyday typical things, lawyer, doctor things that, a lot of people might want to do. So I opted for fashion. I wanted to get into fashion. And I loved the creativity, and I knew that a lot of the people in fashion would travel all around the world. And that to me was very enticing. So I ended up getting a job in the fashion industry. And my very first job was working for Calvin Klein jeans in, 2005. And at that point, I had met such amazing people. When I tell you, they were just super creative. And I was young. I was in my early 20s, and I had wanted to just learn everything. When you're just young and hungry, and you're just like, I want to know how they do these things. I want to learn how they get these visions to create these beautiful designs and then roll them out. And essentially, yeah. So I worked in fashion for about 15 years. So I worked across maybe 5 different brands. Some like Brooks Brothers. I worked for Rebecca Taylor. I worked for Calvin Klein jeans for a long time, and a bunch of other ones. But at the end of the day, I had this, this feeling inside that something wasn't there anymore for me. I wasn't lit up like I had been in my early 20s. I wasn't as hungry. I wasn't that passionate person that you see before you today. I didn't have that in me. And I decided, deep down, I even though I had that nudge, I realized that I couldn't leave that stable life, that money that was coming in, that New York City pace, the things that I had, that's what was instilled in me to work up that ladder. And I did. I reached the higher titles. I reached the higher salaries. I had great connections. And after a certain point, though, that it was just that feeling. And I kept holding it down until one day, you know, life had to intervene. And I was laid off from my job after 2 years. And, you know, it was a shock. It was really a shock because I had never been laid off, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I knew deep down I didn't want to do this anymore, but I got nervous because I didn't know what else I could do. I didn't know what my options were. I just thought because I knew this one thing that I had to stay in this one lane. And from there, I had, like I said, was laid off, and a friend of mine had said randomly, Noel, what, like, you know, I need help. Why don't you come with me to Bali, and we'll do some, she wanted to do some business there. So I said, oh, you know, okay, but I can't, like, I just was laid off from my job. So there's no way I could just, you know, hop away from this and my bills and all my responsibilities and just go to Bali for a month. And anyway, after a couple days, she convinced me, and she actually paid for my flight, which was really good to have good friends. And I had honestly, I couldn't believe I was going. Everybody's like, are you serious? What do you get laid off and then you're going to go to Bali? I said, I know it's crazy. I know it doesn't make sense, but for some reason it's happening. I'm going to just do it. I'm going to go with it. And I ended up going to Bali for a month, and wow is all I could say. Is it opened my eyes to a new way of life. Like I just describe it as I was once in this world of black and white, and then I get to Bali, and it's like I discovered this world full of color, and like everything's alive. The scenery is so lush and beautiful. There's so much beautiful green rice fields. The flowers were so fragrant and vibrant, all the colors, and the sunshine. I mean, and of course it's a tropical island, so let's be honest, it's not all that bad, but I really fell in love with the culture, the people. I have to tell you, the people were just so kind, and the smile that was plastered across their faces, it was nothing like, you know, New York, where everybody's kind of grumpy and not as friendly and not as willing to help you. But yeah, it was just that whole energy. You feel it. Energy is real. And I felt it there. And it was like a big warm embrace when I was there. And so it really opened my eyes to living a different way. And besides the fact that it's a beautiful paradise, it was also a very entrepreneurial place where there's a lot of creatives, young, hungry. They're starting their own businesses. They work from anywhere in the world. And that was just so appealing to me. It resonated with me, because here I was chained to my desk for like 15 years under horrible fluorescent lighting, not feeling inspired anymore, not really hungry for what I was doing. And I just felt like I was doing it to collect money, but underneath it all, that wasn't satisfying my soul anymore. And
Noel, I wanted to, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you said some amazing things there that I wanted to draw out before we sort of move beyond them, because
yes,
I loved how you share your story. And what you just said, you know, this is resonating with some interviews and conversations I had yesterday where we were talking about the energy, the body's energy fields, and how we tap into vibrations. And I love how you describe life could feel like you're living in black and white, and then you discover color. And somebody I spoke to yesterday said, you know, how do I help people that sort of know that there's something more in life, but some people are not willing to go after it. And I say that people can stay in their pattern of mediocrity as long as they don't complain about it. So, you know, some people are happy to live in a black and white life, and that's okay, but just don't whine about it and recognize that you're not claiming everything that life has to offer, which is what you did. And I think that sometimes just changing the situation, getting out and seeing a world different to the hamster wheel or the treadmill that you're stuck on in your life is just a pivotal turning point. So I just wanted to recap that, and the fact that our body's energy fields are a form of feedback, that when you are in a negative or kind of low vibration, you're just going to be attracting more and more of that stuff to yourself. So sorry, I just wanted to enforce those points. I hated to interrupt your flow, but you know, please continue telling us more about your story, about what happened after you got to Bali.
Well, no, definitely interrupt me because I'm sorry that I sometimes go on and ramble. But thank you so much, Kim. Yes, and that's so true because your body definitely feels it, and you can't deny that. Like it's just undeniable. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like it all just kind of came together when I was in Bali, and there was that aha moment. You know, I've traveled to many places in the world, and you know, I could honestly say like I loved a lot of the places, but I've never in my life said, wow, I could live here. This feels like home. It was very comforting. I don't like, I really can't explain it. It just felt right. And, you know, like I said, I was there for a month, and, you know, then I had to go back towards the end of that month. And I remember just saying to myself, like, oh my God, like I dreaded going back, getting on that plane back to New York, and just not knowing what I was going to do in that big city of gray, and what I wanted to get back into. But, you know, I had this thing in my head, like, you know, Noel, maybe it's not for you anymore. Maybe you could figure out a new lifestyle. And that just kept kind of hanging around my mind. And I just said on the plane, I said, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out a way to get back to Bali. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. I just like said it. And I was just very, very much, you know, that full on belief when you have that real, like, your whole body, your mind, everything is aligned and you're like, I'm going for it. That's exactly how I felt. And I got back home to New York. I cried on the plane. I got back home. Was in a little depression. I'm not going to lie about it. I ended up getting another job in fashion. And, you know, it reaffirmed everything that I was just feeling. It was like after that trip and that aha awakening and going back to sitting behind that desk with people. Listen, there were people I was working with at this new company they were there for 20, 30 years. They didn't want to hear anything about new ideas, new concepts, new anything. These people haven't moved. They were like dinosaurs. They haven't gone to any new company. So they're operating in a very, very kind of analog reality, very, you know, not up on anything new. And it's really hard. You know, it's like, you want to be proactive, but at the same time, you know, it falls on deaf ears and you get frustrated after a while. You really do. So, you know, I said, these aren't the type of people I'm going to thrive around. These are not the type of people that I'm going to be inspired by, motivated by. I can't even have conversations with them because they don't even know what I'm talking about. And it wasn't all of them, but there was a large amount that just was living in this kind of old world of this is the way it has to be. This is the way it's been done. So this is it, the end all be all. They're not really open to exploring. So I said to myself, all right, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. I said, you know, I'm going to give myself a deadline. I literally was like, Noel, you're giving yourself a deadline. It's September 2018. By December 2019, you're out. You're leaving. You're flying off to Bali. You're gonna leave. And I said, I'm gonna do everything in my power. I'm gonna start paying off whatever debt I had, create a savings for X amount of dollars, and just dump and all my focus, cut off all my my entertainment, my going out to these dinners, my brunches, all those things, you know. And I told all my friends, like, I'm going. And of course, you know, it wasn't like they believed me. Like, yeah, okay, Noel, like you go to Bali and now you're like, oh, I'm going to move to Bali. Like, okay. And so they didn't necessarily believe me, but yeah, I worked my butt off. And I'll tell you, like, it was 6 months after I had come back, and I told my friends and family, I said, listen, this is real. It's happening. I'm leaving in December. Just want to let you. They said, really? You really were serious about that? I said, yeah, I was serious about it. It's happening. So everybody get prepared. Don't freak out when I leave. And and by December 2019, I was on my flight. I didn't stop in Bali first. I went to Sydney, Australia, because I have some friends there who are like, you've been to Bali. Why don't you come here and spend New Year's here and hang out here for a little bit and then go to Bali? So I said, okay, fine. And it was lovely. I did. So I ended up in Sydney for a month and a half. And then I went over to Bali, and I've been here ever since. I spent the whole pandemic here. Sorry. Go ahead, Kim.
Oh, no, that's fine. Again, you just said something so powerful that I want to draw attention to, that before we get into your mission and, you know, what is it that you're really doing right now, I wanted to point out that you are on this road. You're on a road to success and living in a world of color because you made the sacrifice and you're doing the hard work. And there are many people in life who have pipe dreams, and they're things that, well, I'd love to do this one day, but they're not willing to pay the price. They're not willing to do the work. And,
Right.
you know, when you actually take the action, when you believe and you add that to significant and consistent action, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. Otherwise, it just remains a pipe dream. It's just a wish when people are not willing to do the work. And that's why such a small percentage of people are actually successful in life, because the majority of people settle for the easy way. They're like, I'm not entirely happy, but I'm also too lazy to do the change that's necessary. So good for you for doing what you did, you know, canceling a lot of the lifestyle to say, I'm going to make the sacrifice, do the savings, work hard to do this because I'm determined to do it. So I just want to draw attention to that, because that's something that I love about you, Noel. I know about your dedication and your commitment to your dream.
Thank
But
you.
please continue. Sorry to keep jumping in, but I know that
Now
you say amazing things, and I want to just stop and draw attention to them before people miss them, you know.
No, thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Kim. Yeah, you know, that's the thing too. It's like sacrifice is not easy. It's not an easy thing. It wasn't easy. You know, there were a lot of times where my friends would say, come on, let's go out. We're going to do, you know, whatever. I said, no, I can't go to these expensive dinners that you guys always want to go to. It's not the same Noel anymore. Now Noel is on a mission, one track to get out and get on that plane. And I made it to that plane. And I packed up my life and put it into my father's garage and said goodbye to everybody and got on that flight to Australia. And it was amazing. You know, I spent a little bit of time with friends, and then I went off, you know, like I said, to Bali. And, you know, that was an experience. Like, I have to tell you, you think like, okay, now, you know, you're in this paradise, you're in this beautiful place, but you go through a bit of culture shock and just the energy shock, because I'm used to this full on speed, you know, and then you go to this chill, like everything is, relaxed. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, Noel, you got to find a job. You got to figure something out. You know, like my mind was going 20 miles an hour, and I wanted to just figure things out. Like as soon as I landed, I'm like, okay, you gotta figure it out. You got to do your research, you know? So my mind was still very much like New York, of course, because it was instilled in me. But I knew that I wanted to actually embrace this experience and just chill out and give my body a chance to adjust. And so that's what I ended up doing. Ultimately, I said, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm going to give myself a little bit of time. I'm going to just go with the flow. And I did. And then I realized that I needed to do a bit of like spiritual kind of rejuvenation, some healing, because I had, I had come from a different world, and it was time. It was just a lot of stuff I was carrying on me. And I hold myself to a very high standard. And I overthink a lot. I have tended to overthink a lot. I'm working on that. I'm a work in progress, but the thing is, it's good to go and seek help and go to healers. So I'm in a beautiful spiritual land. Why not take advantage of going to beautiful healers, doing some like sound bath healings and meditations, the breath work, all of that. And I'll tell you, I probably spent my first 4 or 5 months in Bali doing all of that stuff, and a lot came out, just a lot of weight that I was carrying. I hadn't had a great relationship with my mother pretty much all my life. And I think towards the end of me leaving to go to New York, we had stopped talking, and I was very, it was tough. So I said to myself, I can't move forward until I mend this relationship with my mother, because it was just so heavy. I just didn't want to carry that to this new venture that I was about to embark on, because I knew it wouldn't work. Like I knew I couldn't do that. So I had to forgive, and I had to do a lot of that work with my mom. And I did. And honestly, we're in a great place now. I talk to her more now than I did when I was at home. And it really helped me to move forward and focus on becoming the better version of myself that I feel I am today, and really give me that energy to put my focus in the right place. It's like, okay, now I'm good with my family. I'm good with those, important foundational elements of my life. Now I need to really sit and think about what I want. And it took that whole pandemic, which was honestly, I was debating whether to go back home. A lot of my friends here were from the US. and they were scaring me because they all, once they said the borders were shutting, they all ran back home. And I was like, I don't know if I should stay or go. And, I spoke with my dad, and he said, listen, Noel, if you go back home right now, New York, March 2020, you'll be going to the Lions Den. It's horrible here right now. Don't come here. He said, I honestly, you're probably better off there. Everybody's in lockdown here. It's just, and honestly, he was the best advice he ever gave me. He put me at ease, and I ended up staying. And it was great because I really did. I did a lot of reading, self-development work, a lot of alone time, a lot of, just time to even connect to on Zoom with family and friends. So it was like a real bonding there was a lot of silver linings with the pandemic. I know it's crazy to say,
Right.
but it was.
Yeah, no, I wanted to say too that, you drop these little nuggets along the way. And I know that if they're not concentrating, are going to miss them. But what you said there is pretty profound, that we can't take the baggage of past or unrestored relationships into the future. I like to say to people, you have to become the person that's going to live the dream of the future, because whoever you are now, whatever you're carrying into your current situation, what got you here is not going to get you there. So you have to become the person you want to be to step into that vision, which is really the work that you did through the self-exploration. And you're right. COVID was a critical pivot for many, many people, and people like myself too have seen the blessings that have come out of the pandemic situation. And by no means do I want to sort of be diminishing about those who have been ill, who have lost loved ones, or obviously it was the national, international disaster, but so much good has come from it that not every huge setback in life is the end of the story. Often, as Les Brown says, a setback is a setup for a comeback. And I think that was very much what happened to you. So I wanted to, reaffirm you for that work that you've done on yourself. And, perhaps you could talk about, you've already addressed some of them, but are there any other sort of key lessons that you've learned through this chapter of your life that you'd like to pass on?
Yeah, I have. I've learned that it's okay. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to have your time to be with you. And I was never that type of person that was, in my New York life. I was always around people. I had a roommate. I just was always around people. And in New York, you're always around people to begin with. It's just the way it goes. So yeah, it's just, now at this time in my life, all of last year, is like I had time to think. I had time to listen to, the world around me, like the birds chirping in the morning, and just things I never really cared for, like I almost took those things for granted. I took them for granted. Like now I'm so appreciative of them. But back in New York, it was just like, I wouldn't have thought to get up early to watch, the sunrise, or get up early to just go for a nice fresh walk and just look at trees and just people watch and early in the morning. Like I never would have done that. And just be with my thoughts and give myself a chance to tap in with what's going on with me. So I've done so much of that here that it's almost like I could never go back to not doing that, because now it's just, and I just see the benefits of it. You know what I mean? So I definitely believe that has been one of the things. Like I actually was in a very expat community area here in Bali for the first 8 months I was here. And I had made friends and acquaintances, and we would go out and we would go to, restaurants, we'd go to parties and stuff like that. And that just got to be too much for me too. And I ended up moving to inland, to the jungle, where it's like dead. There's nobody really here. And so I'm alone. And I'm like, I barely talk to people. And it's like, when I see people that I know, and I'm like talking a mile a minute, because I don't talk anymore. I don't talk. I'm alone. And it's been so pivotal. It's been great. I don't, like, people are like, Noel, are you depressed? Like, when are you coming back to this other area where I used to be? I said, I don't know that I am. I'm actually enjoying this time. And I realized another thing, Kim. I realized that, that being around people is not always, it doesn't always make you feel like you're around people. When it's just kind of like this people that are chatting, and it's just taking up energy. And I've realized there's a lot of people that, even in New York, but I've realized here that a lot of people here, they could be energy vampires. It's sometimes just very surface. They want to tell you all of their life stories, but then when it comes to you, telling your story, they don't really listen. And it's just like, I don't really have time for that in my life anymore. I really don't. And I might have really romanced it back home, but now I'm just like, I don't have this time or energy to give out to people that really don't take me seriously. I can't. So I that's another thing that I will not do, is I won't be in a place where I feel like I have to give up my energy, or they deplete me of my energy. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. I need to consume it.
That's powerful. Yeah, watching your energy and being careful who you're around, because you can be around the right people in the right doses. I'm reminded years ago, I I had a great quote from a speaker that said, you're welcome to warm yourself by my fire, but you may not steal my wood.
I love that.
And isn't that great? And it's exactly what
That's
you're
great.
talking about. It's like, we tend to give out a lot of ourselves in the work that we do, but when you meet somebody that just sort of takes from you but doesn't help you increase, you don't get that sort of symbiotic energy vibration. So that's an important lesson. And I know too that not everything, so this is sort of addressed to those who are in a job and in a career and sort of don't see the need to move. And I often stress it, that my focus with Rethink You is not necessarily to say to everybody you need to quit your job.
Right.
I just want to make sure that people are living the life they were designed to live, and they are living a fulfilled life. And not everything in life is wasted. I know that, the jobs that I've had over the years alongside my dream, where I keep putting my dream on the shelf, but those jobs have taught me incredible things. So as you look back to your 15 or so years in the fashion industry and the work you were doing, what sort of gifts and skills and talents came to the surface that you're taking with you into your future dream?
Well, I mean, it's the work ethic. I mean, it's made working in New York City for 15 years and in fashion, because that's not an easy industry either. I mean, there's a lot of different personalities there, but it has taught me to have a very strong backbone. Like, don't take any, BS from anybody. Stand your ground. And that's one thing, like, I don't feel like because you maybe are at a specific certain title or whatever, you should be treated any better than somebody who is like an assistant. I feel that at the end of the day, sometimes people can abuse their power, but I was always respectful, but I also would show them that I'm not going to tolerate that type of attitude or whatever they were throwing at me that day. I just feel like you have to be able to hold your own in this world. And no matter what industry you're in, what job you're in, be sure to also stand your ground when you believe in something, and don't let somebody use their power to hold that over or threaten you. And I think that's important. So that's one big lesson I've learned. But also, I think that I have made so many amazing people in my career, and I still talk to them today. And I really do value that. And like I said, I don't regret 1 minute of my old life, my old career, or anything. I don't. I have a lot of respect for the people that are still in it, doing it. I really do, because it's not easy right now. It's really not. It's tough. A lot of people are out of their jobs, and I commend them for being able to stick it out. But, again, I still feel that certain times there's also room for you to learn new things. And on the side, you could also start a side hustle while you're still working your full-time job if you're not in love. I'm specifically talking to people that are not happy in their jobs, like you said earlier. People that are happy in their jobs, kudos to you. I love that. Be happy, enjoy your life, and if it brings you joy and lights you up inside, that's all that matters. But I value my network of people that I know. They've been very, very good to me. And like I said, I still talk to my old bosses. We're all on great terms, and it's nothing, no hard feelings or anything. It's just, it was once my dream, Kim. It was once my dream to work my way up that ladder and do those things. I saw a lot of creative people create magical products, and I went overseas a lot with my companies that I worked for. I mean, I had great opportunities, and so I did fulfill a bit of that travel that I had always said with fashion, it's linked to travel. So I did do that. And so I did fulfill a dream of mine, but doesn't mean that you only have one. You have multiple dreams in your life. You could fulfill many. It's just all about what you want. And I think that sometimes people don't realize that they can have more than one, and that they can venture out and they can move forward in another direction if it's no longer igniting you. Like the girl I was in my early 20s when I started working was hungry, and she wanted all of that. And I did. But the girl I am today is completely different. And I realized that, that's not for me anymore. And I don't regret it, because it's brought me exactly where I'm supposed to be at the right time. It was all happened at the right time. It happened when it needed to happen. And so I don't regret a minute of it, but I'm happy now to be on this journey where I'm helping to impact and spread the word for people who are not loving their professional work setting or their lifestyle anymore. I just don't feel that people should just throw in the towel because they feel like they have to do this one thing forever. You don't have to do one thing forever. You can do many.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can have many dreams. And I know right now, Noel, that you are helping others, step out of that group through, this a company that you've started called Your Everyday Dream. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing to empower others, and, what's the big vision? Where is your focus with your business right now?
So, I mean, it's a great focus. Thank you, Kim. I mean, Your Everyday Dream came out of my transition, my transformation, and it just kind of came together. I had a coach when I was transitioning from New York into Australia to Bali. I had a 6-month coach, a coach for 6 months, and she was from New York as well. And so we connected because, she was in New York and she lived in Bali. And I said, okay, well, you're doing what I want to do. So, I saw something in her that inspired me because she did it. So I knew it was possible for me. And she just told me it was, it's like that extra support. She was like, it's going to be okay, Noel. You're going to do this. You're going to do fine. You'll figure it out. No big deal. And then through working with her, I realized that I actually want to do this. I want to help others. I want to inspire others. I want to show people, not that they have to move to Bali or move anywhere. You don't have to do that, but that it's important that you don't give up on your dreams, that you stick to it and you commit to it, and that you reach for it, because that's the thing. Like, things are going to get hard when you're working for something that you want. It's not going to be easy. I mean, people work super hard for something that they don't want or that they're not in love with. And so for me, it's like, well, if you're going to do that, you might as well do that for you. You might as well put your, and you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. You can work your full-time job, and you can start something on the side, and you could see how that develops. But it came out of that, essentially. It's like, I was inspired by my coach, and she said, she's like, I could see you really helping other people. And at first I thought, I don't know. But and I got really into the self-development and reading the books and listening to the motivational speakers. And really, it took me down a rabbit hole. And I said to myself, wow, this is something that is for me. And I felt it. I really did feel it. So that's how it started. And then I just said to myself, well, I want to focus on the people that are back in the US who really do. They don't maybe realize there's other ways and other options for living their life. Like I said, you don't have to move to another country, but there's still other options for you. There's a lot of people that don't realize that you can have a life and a work online, and you can be your own boss if you choose to, or you don't have to. You could work for a remote company, but you can get back some of your personal time if that's what you want to stay home with your kids or whatever the case is. I'm just saying there's options. And I don't know that that people realize that, because if you're working a full-time job, a lot of the times you get home from work, you're not going to sit there and want to research what your options are. You might not. And so I think that I know I didn't. And so I know that people just stop there and this is what it is. This is what it has to be. And so I want to show people there's options. These are your options. Just be aware of your options, and don't feel bad if you just start small and just do something on the side. Just try. And so that is my mission, is to show people their options, to inspire them, to motivate them. And for those hungry people who already know that they want something more, that they're feeling stuck, that they want to transition into something else, that I want to work with them. I want to work with those people because I want to see them executing and going to the end. And I just want to be a cheerleader of support, really. People need support.
They do. And thank you for that, because you also said how when you went through your life transition, how you had a coach helping you. And I say to so many people, in order to be a success, you must have a coach. It's not an option. And you can't do life on your own. You can't figure this stuff out without help, whoever that coach may be. And I think that, knowing that you're stepping into coaching to help people do what you're doing is powerful, because all of us are coaches. And I like to say, there are also a lot of doctors, and that doesn't stop people going to medical school. So there's a reason why we're all coaching, because there's certain people out there that we need to connect with at their particular time of their journey. So thank you for that. I have so enjoyed listening to your story. And, as we bring this to a close, Noel, is there anything else that you'd like the listeners to remember about you as they walk away from this?
I just want them to thank you, Kim. I just want them to remember that, again, you don't have to stay in this one lane. You can create your, don't be scared to get offline and create your own path and start walking. And you might be scared at first, because of course it's scary, but as you start walking, the way appears, it will appear. And that's kind of what I did. I didn't have it all figured out when I left. I didn't have everything, but I trusted and believed in myself and had faith in the Lord and the universe. And I really felt like this was the right move for me. And honestly, I have come light years from where I was, like, just on a personal, spiritual level, just the work I've done on myself. And of course, there's always more work to do, but I'm really proud of the person I am today. And I hope to just continue to become a better person as my journey continues, and help others in the process, really.
Great, Noel. Well, thank you so much. As I said, I've loved listening to your story, and you're making time in Bali. It's late evening there and early morning here. And I know we deal with these time zone challenges as we're building this global community. So thank you for staying up late tonight to speak to us. And I really appreciate your story. And we'll make sure that we put your website and contact information on the show notes, so people will know how to connect with you.
Thank you so much, Kim. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.